And I think, in my opinion, that's kind of where we are in the world right now. I think there's a lot of people waking up going, I need to unbrainwash myself. Who am I? What am I doing? What actually makes me happy? What makes me thrive in life versus what society is telling me versus what, I'm told is, this is the status quo. I think we're finally starting to walk away from that. Thank God that we're like, I want to be authentically me. It doesn't matter that I don't show up the same as you. That's what makes it beautiful.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Ability Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. This episode of the Infinite Abilities Podcast is brought to you by the one and only Infinite Toolbox, where just like all other toolboxes, we will get the job done, guaranteed. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking to save time, boost revenue, or automate your processes, Infinite Toolbox has got you covered. With powerful tools designed to drive leads, expand your reach, and gain your industry secrets, we help you work smarter, not harder. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Visit us at infinitetoolbox.com. That's infinitetoolbox.com, and discover how infinite your potential really is. All right, everyone. So today we have Ali, and I can't wait for her to share her story and share how she helps so many people. So let's get into it. Ali, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Hi, Nick. Thanks so much for having me. And thanks for your community for listening. Honored to be here. So I'm Ali Levine. I'm a certified breathwork and faith-based coach, and I help people with nervous system regulation, guiding them into thriving in mind, body, and spirit, as well as trauma release that is needed in the body and just any energetic work that is needed that we can do through our sacred breath.
Amazing. Well, me personally, I love breath work. I do it every day, usually
Amazing.
a handful of times a day. My favorite technique is like 6 deep breaths in. I hold at the top. As I exhale slow, like breathing out through a straw. And yeah, just do that 6 times, and it really just like if I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, it relaxes me. And it's kind of weird because, like, if you're feeling overwhelmed, it can relax you. If you want more energy, it can pick you up. So it's kind of weird how it works.
It is. Yeah. Well, I love that you shared that, and that's amazing that you use it as a daily practice so you know the benefit of it. And that's the thing I tell everyone. I'm like, this is divinely within us. And, the creator made us this way. And it's not just for us to breathe and survive, but it's actually what you said, to thrive. It can energize you. It can nourish you. It can help heal the body. It can calm you. It can de-stress you. It's got so many benefits. And when you're doing it in the long run, it's helping, energize and reset your mitochondria and your gut and your immune system. And it's helping reset and restore your cells. So there's so many great benefits when it comes to breath work.
Yep. And it's amazing because, like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, I had never done any sort of breath work in my life. And then when somebody first told me to try it, I was like, yeah, okay.
I think that's everybody's reaction. I was like that, by the way, like being so honest. So someone was like, I was doing meditation and I was doing all the like mindset work, and mindset work was not enough and I needed more. And people were like, you should try breath work. And I was like, yeah, okay, what is it, breathing? Like I literally made fun of it. And now here I am as a coach. So I get it.
Yeah, I know, because you're like, okay, I breathe all day. It's like, well, yeah, you do. But if you can get even more oxygen, if people don't know this, but humans need oxygen. So therefore, if you purposely bring in more and do it the right way, it really does help a lot. So yeah, I love that.
It does, absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, you need more oxygen. And also too, it's like when you are nourishing your body that way, that, you're bringing in that much air. I try to compare it to, I'm a mom of 3, little one, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. So when, you look at a child or a baby and how they're breathing deeply into their belly, into their chest and out. And that's the way we come into this world, all of us, and then we forget,
Mm-hmm.
in the chaos and the
Yep.
noise and the stress and everything that happens. And so if we can come back to that divine homeostasis of the way we were created and use these practices and bring
Mm-hmm.
more oxygen into the body, we are going to experience the benefits.
Yeah, and like you said, there's so many benefits, and uh, for me, like I still struggle to, but I have kind of anger issues. Like I do get angry quickly, but since I know to breathe, I can immediately calm myself down. But the hard part is thinking of breathing when you're in that situation.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
do you have any tips as far as like how to become aware and remember to just breathe?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think that's all of us as humans struggle with, right? It's like there's so
Yeah.
much coming at you all day long. Your phone's going, your
Mhm.
emails going, so many things are happening. Even for us, before we got on, we had technical hiccups. Like things happen all the time, right? And it's like, how are you
Yeah.
reacting to that? How are you handling that? And I used to shut down and I wouldn't be able to respond before I got into, the breath work. And so the first thing I
Mhm.
tell people is, it really is awareness is key. It's just paying
Mhm.
attention to like, what is setting you off and taking a body scan of like, what does my body feel like right now? Not that I'm mad, not that I'm sad, not that I'm frustrated, but like, what are you feeling? Are you feeling like tingly in the body? Are you feeling, warm sensations? Are you feeling more hollow? Are you feeling intensity in a certain area? What is happening in the body? So we can start to pay attention to where is that area in the body that's feeling that actual sensation. Then we can start
Mhm.
to unpack what is actually coming up with the emotion and why. And so it's really
Yeah.
just, being able to ground for a moment and take a scan of like, okay, where is my body right now? And if you can't do that in that moment, I tell everyone, get outside. We all have grass. Get outside, right? Put your feet on the
Mhm.
grass. Immediately you'll start to be grounded, just by Mother Nature, and
Yeah.
allow yourself to receive that, actual medicine through your body to start
Mhm.
to ground, because then you will breathe without even meaning to in a natural way. And then you can
Mhm.
actually take a scan and say, okay, what's going on right now? What am I feeling? What sensations are happening right now? And I also tell people that, when you go and do that grounding, think about something in that moment also that you're grateful for. Even if you're not grateful for the feeling that you're experiencing in that moment, I get that. But there's always
Mhm.
something we can be grateful for in our lives, whether it's, our family, our health, our home, like simple things, our animal, like, and that alone will start to reset and shift where our actual fire and wiring is going on in the brain. And we'll be able to start to change that and then start to come into, okay, what am I feeling right now? What am I experiencing? And then once we have the
Mhm.
awareness, now we can start to take action and start to change it.
Yep. I agree, and I've done that before, and it really does help. I do need to do it more often, but yes, I have
Yeah, we
experienced it.
all do, right? We all need to
Yeah.
do it more often. And that's the thing with these practices, right? Is it's like a
Mhm.
continuous practice is going to be the compounding benefits in our
Yep.
lives. I know for me, when I first started the journey, it was like just a little bit here and there. And I was like, oh, I see some
Mhm.
shifts. But then when I got intentional and started doing it
Mhm.
every day and it became part of my everyday life, those were
Yeah.
the massive shifts. That was the mind, body, spirit connection. That was the alignment instead of us being disconnected. And essentially
Mhm.
the, frustrations that we're feeling or the anger or the sadness, it's just what's been suppressed in our body. Our body
Yeah.
keeps score. One of my favorite books I ever read is, The Body Keeps Score. And it teaches us about how the body holds our emotions, how everything stores in the nervous system. And
Mhm.
when we're not expressing regularly how we're feeling, it gets suppressed. And what happens when it suppresses? Well, it wants to be expressed. And then it comes out when you're angry and it comes out when you're sad and you're frustrated. You think that it's just that moment that triggered you. But no, it was
Mhm.
actually all the other things that led up to that moment. And you had suppressed it so much that now the body's like, I have to get this out. I can't hold this anymore. It's not good
Yeah.
for me. Right. And we as humans, we compartmentalize and we suppress so much. And there's no judgment around that. But it's just understanding that when we start to understand how to tune into the body, we can start to release these emotions regularly in a healthy way. Our emotions are actually meant to
Mhm.
be experienced for only 90 seconds, fully though, like a full 90 seconds,
Oh,
and then be able
really?
to move it through and move. Yeah, 90 seconds. That's it. But we have to do it fully. It
Wow.
can't be like, you feel it for like 10 seconds, then you go back to it. You got to be fully
Mm-hmm.
immersed in that emotion for 90 seconds. And then the body will actually start to release it and allow you to start to shift and have awareness of where you are versus fighting your body, fighting the emotions and the energy that are going on, and then continuously going back to that because you've never released it.
Now, speaking from experience, I feel like it's very hard to work through. Like, are you saying to like get over that emotion, or
No, not get over it.
okay, okay.
Second, right? Or you put it away because you got to deal with something else in that moment. And what I'm saying is to healthily, obviously do it in a healthy way, but express
Mm-hmm.
the emotion. Like, go outside
Okay.
and yell if you need to, cry and release the
Mm-hmm.
tears, walk away and let yourself experience the full emotion because our emotions are just energy in motion. It's just moving through the
Mm-hmm.
body. And when we start to understand that we are energetic beings, which I think more and more people are starting to understand this, the more we can understand how energy works and how important it is to not only use our breath to ground us and to nourish us, but also to express the emotions when they're coming up so the body can reset back to that homeostasis and that divine way of being. And our nervous system needs that. Our nervous system, I like to
Mm-hmm.
explain it as Nick, is like the operating system of a computer. And when we get it junked up with files and we get it junked up with all kinds of documents and stuff, as we all do, it doesn't work as
Mm-hmm.
well, right? All of a sudden, like it's not working. And that's what happens to our emotions. It all gets stored in the nervous system, just sits and sits and sits, compounds, and then essentially explodes, or we shut off. We go into full freeze and
Mm-hmm.
we can't show up anymore, which happens to a lot of people. It happened to me. And so we have to freely express these emotions in a safe way and know that these emotions are only meant to be felt in a full 90 seconds to move through. Now, that doesn't mean they maybe won't come back up, but in that moment,
Yep.
let's acknowledge them and give them the power to come through and be released versus holding on to them and letting them take the power over us. We have the authority over our emotions. We have to just choose to flow with them instead of fighting them and resisting them.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes sense, and that's definitely something that I'm gonna practice myself from now
Yeah.
on. Because yeah, I know that a lot of times, like I'll feel an emotion, whether it's anger or sadness or hurt or anything, and for me, I tend to push it down as far as I can and deal with it later, and it always bites me in the ass later on. So I
Yeah,
want to
and,
make
and
sure
and
that.
all the love around that, and no judgment
Mm-hmm.
and no shame. We all do it. I think as a society, we're taught that way. We're taught
Yeah.
to, shove it down. I know for me as a kid, I was always told, don't cry, don't cry. There's no
Mm-hmm.
crying, there's no crying. And what are you teaching someone? You're teaching them not to express their healthy emotion that needs to
That's a
come
good point.
forward. I'm really
Mm-hmm.
doing my best, as a mom for my kids and telling them when they get upset, I'm like, okay, express it in a healthy way. How can we
Mm-hmm.
breathe? Tell me what you're feeling right now. Get it out in a healthy way instead of exploding later, and teaching them
Mm-hmm.
how to honor their emotions and to flow with them and not let them take them over. Because it's when we compartmentalize them and shove them down, that's when they do have the ability to take us over.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that because that was huge. And I like that you brought up our childhood. What we go through as children, a lot of us. And I know that you help with trauma.
Mhm.
So as I coach myself, I know that a lot of our traumas tend to happen when we're children. Um, what are some ways that you help your clients with trauma?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, first off, just getting into the body. I help
Mm-hmm.
people immediately get out of their minds where we all have so much noise and junk and chaos going on all the time. And we get into the body and we start doing breath work and we just start releasing and really taking those deep inhales to let the body ground. Once the body has safety and has peace, then I start to help them rewire the process of where they are. We're rewiring the neuroplasticity that's in our brain. And for those that don't know, when you do bring in more oxygen, like Nick was saying, and it takes about 90 to 120 seconds when you bring more oxygen into the body, the back of our brain, the neuroreceptors in the back, start to actually shut off. This is something our body naturally does from bringing more air in, from doing the breath work, the conscious breathing. And what happens when we do that is that we are able then to start to rewire where the brain is. We're able to start to then actually change what our thoughts are and rewire and refire what's going on. And so I help people with those limiting beliefs. What is coming up when we're breathing? Is something coming up from their childhood where they were told they were not worthy? Is there something where they don't have control and they're still trying to control their lives? Is there something where they have lack and they've always had lack and they don't know how to have abundance? Whatever it is that's coming up, that we start to kind of come up through journal prompts and the breath work and the deeper work that I do with them, then we start to rewire. I like to call it acceleration, reactivation, subconscious rewire. We're on a very accelerated rate because of being so open and being able to change the neuroplasticity very quickly. We are starting to bring in new beliefs. We are starting to reset the programming. And this goes obviously very deep, but on a simple level, it's affirmations. It's writing down those new beliefs. It's what's coming up right now that we need to actually release. It's mirror work. I get people in front of the mirror, talking to themselves, speaking that over themselves. There's a lot of different tools I use, but that's just a few examples. But that's how we start to work with the trauma, because it's sitting there for a reason. You haven't allowed it to be expressed and you haven't allowed it to be seen. And the first thing we have to do is have you have the awareness of what is there. And then how are we going to have you see it so we can start to change it and rewire it? And then this is where the deeper work comes in, where you start to really, it's a self-care, self-love journey of like, how much more can I believe that I actually, had all these programs put into me, had all these beliefs given to me. This has never been who I've been. I've always been a divine human being. Now I have to rewire and unbrainwash myself and move myself into a higher, vibration of who I truly am and believe it. And I think, the combination of the breath work with the rewiring and the deeper, tools helps you to start to make that something that sticks and is actually going to hold and grow and evolve you as you go through the process, and something you can start to believe as you start to do the work.
Yep. I'm right there with you. I agree so much. And, I do like that you brought up, unbrainwashing. I love that, because, when you're going through, self-development and all of that, you are bringing in a lot of new information, but you're actually getting rid of more of what, like, you're getting rid of more than you're bringing in a lot of times.
Yeah, you're right. You're getting rid of so much junk. There's so much stuff you've held on to from childhood to school to parents to teachers to all the things, society, all the things that you're just like, oh, I got to get rid of all of this. I tell people, when they go through this process with me and they're like, oh my gosh, everything's falling apart. And I'm like, good. It's meant to. Everything's meant to fall apart. The frame that you have in front of you needs to be shattered. We're not just like taking little pieces here. We're shattering the frame so we can build a new frame. It's got to be demolition and construction before we can build new and create and actually have you be on a new platform and be the newest, highest version of you, which to me is actually just the authentic version of you. It's who you've always been. You're just remembering who you are before, the actual brainwashing. And like I said, the unbrainwashing, right? And like understanding that this rewiring is an unbrainwashing. It's like coming back to your actual intuition. I teach people that too. It's like, how can you lean deeper into your intuition instead of listening to what somebody else is saying? And that's also a practice.
I love that you brought that up, coming back to yourself, who you actually are, because I know that a lot of us, like, as we get older, we tend to get further away from who we actually are, because, like you said, we're listening to other people. We're following the norm. We're following what, society says is right. And that might not align with who we actually are. So the more that we can connect with who we are and remember what we want, then the better our life is going to get.
Exactly. Absolutely. Because then Well, and then essentially to me, what I see with my clients is like the light turns on inside of them. All of a sudden, it's like they're beaming because they feel fulfilled and they feel whole. And the funny thing is,
Yeah.
all the things they were doing before weren't working because exactly what you said, Nick, is that they were searching outside. I know I was doing the same for all these accomplishments and accolades and checking off the box and all this stuff, and nothing was doing it for them. But when they returned back to who they were and started actually figuring out who actually am I, and that's a deep soul journey, right? And I think, in my opinion, that's kind of where we are in the world right now. I think there's a lot of people waking up going, I need to unbrainwash myself. Who am I? What am I doing? What actually makes me happy? What makes me thrive in life versus what society is telling me versus what, I'm told is, this is the status quo. I think we're finally starting to walk away from that. Thank God that we're like, I want to be authentically me. It doesn't matter that I don't show up the same as you. That's what makes it beautiful. You don't show up the same as me, and it's like we're going to resonate for different people because of our stories, because of our journeys, and our authenticity and vulnerability to share where we've been in our journey.
Yep. I truly believe that our biggest competition is status quo. Like, that's your biggest competition in life. It's like, don't do the norm. Do what you want to do. Do what you were pushed here to do. So
Yeah,
yeah,
your
I
purpose.
truly believe that.
Yeah, I
And
love that.
then, so for everybody listening, you're obviously incredible. You're amazing. How can they reach out to work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for letting me share a little bit
Yeah.
about, my journey. And I just want to let everyone know, like, the woman you see before you right now sharing this story was not where I was years ago. I came from, a background of a celebrity wardrobe styling in Hollywood and burned out my career. And after burning out, I had my first daughter and I went through heavy postpartum depression and anxiety. And so this has been a deep healing. Oh, by the way, continuously healing journey as I continue to go through it. And I tell everyone, I'm like, you're never fully healed. You're just continuing to pull back the layers of the onion and evolve and shift and change and rewire, right? So I just want anyone to know, like, wherever you are in your journey, it's beautiful. As long as you're honoring it and you're having the awareness to make those shifts and make those changes, like, that's where you're meant to be. And just don't get stuck. How you were saying, Nick, with like the status quo, like, don't get stuck where you are. Start to make the changes. Start to ask yourself, like, who am I really? And look for that support. So as far as working with me, my website is alilevine.com, ALILEVINE.com. I'm on socials at Ali Levine Design, ALILEVINE Design, DESIGN. I would love it if you guys would message me on social, let me know that this resonated for you, and connect with me and follow me there. I share a lot of my journey, on the social space. I also have my own podcast called Awakening with Ali. I have my own app, which I would highly recommend you check out. It's called Breathe and Be, BREATHE, and the letter capital B. And it's on App Store and Google Play. And I add in new exercises and teachings every month, as well as divine downloads. My community's in there. I can coach you in there. There's a lot of support there. So you can get like 3-minute exercise, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever you're looking for is there for you to take you through these different practices, whether it's fear, anxiety, stress, you want more energy, you just want to feel more transformed, whatever it is you're going through, I've got something there for you on the app, and I always add to it every month. If you're subscribed, you get a continuous update of all the new things being added. You can download it for free, and then you can subscribe for $11.11 a month to have all that support there. So it's a great way to start with me in your pocket. And then I do group containers for the deeper journey of transformation for those that want it, as well as one-on-one bundles and sessions if that's something that you are looking for. And I have a few in-person retreats coming up in 2025. So if that's something you're looking to do in person, you can reach out to me directly.
That's incredible. I know I'm gonna be downloading your app right after this, because that's right up my alley. I love things like that. Really, I love things that can help you every single day.
Yes.
And that's what your app does. It's something that I can go to every day when I need it and just get the help.
That's why
and
I created
support.
it. I wanted it to be, for me, Nick, I felt so lost in my space when I was going through everything. And though I had amazing practitioners and facilitators, when I didn't have those people, I would get lost and kind of drown on my own at home. And I thought, how can I support people deeper in this space? And really, essentially, I want to make change and ripple effects in the world. And so I'm like, how can I do this on a much deeper, bigger, impactful level? And that's why I created Breathe and Be. And my mission is to help 2 million people consciously breathe by 2030. So that is my big goal.
Amazing. Well, you got this. I know you got this.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me on. And I hope for anyone that listens to this, helps hit you, where it needs to hit you in your heart, and just know you're not alone on your healing journey, and you're absolutely made to divinely heal and thrive. And you can, it's just a choice, and having the awareness to start to make, the move forward to do so and choose you in your healing journey.
Awesome. And I think my next question is going to really go along with a lot of what we talked about too. And, my slogan is, your abilities are infinite. What does that mean to you?
Oh, wow. I love that. I would just say it means that you know exactly who you are. You know your purpose. You know why you're here. And you've just got to take the step forward and say, I'm going to be scared and do it anyways.
Yeah, I love that. And sometimes you got to kind of dig to figure out what your purpose is.
Yeah.
But do the work.
You have to dig and allow those healing layers to come up and move through. And a lot of times, I think for most of us, especially in this space, it ends up being what you went through. It ends up being your story that helps other people to move forward, because the space of vulnerability and true authenticity is what people need. People need to know they have access to this healing. They have access to these tools, because they're, so many of them, like the breath, are divinely within us, and we just have to tap into them and use them.
Yep, exactly. And what would be like one last nugget or message that you would like to share?
I like to always say you're one breath away from home. And what I mean by that is that when you take that conscious breath, you're that much closer to being connected back to your soul. You're that much closer to being connected to the highest power there is. You're that much more connected. It's such a powerful tool and modality when we actually use it. And so I invite all of you to use it. You will see the transformations in your life.
Thank you for sharing that. That was incredible. And Ali, this has been truly amazing, so helpful. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, thanks so much for having me, Nick. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and congrats on what you're doing in your world. It's incredible.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me here, the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors. So let's just get it out there by word of mouth, help more people. Alright, everyone. Remember, your abilities are infinite.